I write real life weather into my novels. And this specifically is because it saves a lot of the mental load of writing my world building. And I don't always do this, but sometimes it's fun to just look out the window and see what's going on in my life and write it into books. So for example, one day as I was writing, I just kind of glanced out the window and it was raining, it was storming, and I could see visually in my peripheral vision what was going on. I saw the rain coming down. I could hear it. I could feel the atmosphere. I could hear the wind against the house as it was moving. I watched the leaves fall from the trees because of the water and the wind. I had a huge visual cue half a foot away from me. And I saw that and said, I could do that. I could do that in the book. And you have to wait for the appropriate times. If a person is in a building and they're in the center of this like big factory, obviously they're not going to be noticing the wind and the environment around them. The world building is going to be different. But if they're in a place where they can see out a window, or where they are outside, or where they're going to be outside and it could be impactful, by all means, write your real life weather into the book. You can see all those beautiful visual cues and just write when these things happen. You guys know I love doing this when I am doing like my mermaid books. I'll turn on under the sea live streams and I'll just watch what's happening and how the water is moving, the kelp and the fish are moving. And I write those things in because it's world building that I then now have to think about. But I do it in my up on land books as well. So I've written storms into my books that added this beautiful layer of what was going on because we could talk about the world building and it impacted the conversation, the mood, or what we were going through inside of that scene. It impacted the sounds and that impacted the conversation, which impacted how we were discussing those things. It's a really cool way to lift some of that mental load, get beautiful imagery, but also kind of tweak and change what you're doing inside of your story because it then became really important. The storms that I wrote in, the rain that I wrote in, it became part of that story. It was useful to me. And then I was able to do some really cool twists and turns in what I was writing. I had not planned on writing a rainstorm into my novel. I hadn't, but I am so glad it did because it was beautifully done. It impacted what we were doing so well. It really added to the mood and it changed how I was doing things. And then for the rest of that book, I was able to be mindful of real life weather because we know, and one of the biggest gripes that we hear from readers is that not everything can be perfect. If you're writing a book and people never do their homework in your contemporary YA novel, it's weird, right? Like we don't talk about people brushing their teeth or making their dinner. We don't talk about the commonplace things. So when we can add some of those things in through weather, that just helps to elevate our books a little bit. Sometimes we just write stories and it's always sunny out. It's always sunny. Everything's nice. It's a normal temperature. We don't have to put on winter coats. We're not freezing unless it's like a specific winter book, right? We always kind of have that baseline of it just is what it is and we never go anywhere from that. So to add in those layers, to add in that depth really just helps to level up your writing. And then I love that it takes off the mental load. Like I don't have to think about what it looks like. I know what it looks like. I'm watching it happen right now through my window. I'm going to put it right in between my dialogue as part of my world building. So that's a really good suggestion for you. Take the weather that you are seeing right now and put it in your book. And you know what? If you have some kind of like interesting weather thing going on, use it as a study if you can't write it into your book right now. Let's say all of a sudden this freak storm comes in and you have high winds and the leaves are coming down and the lightning is just flashing around you and the thunder is crashing, but it came out of nowhere like blue skies into storms, but you're not writing or it doesn't fit into the scene. Take the freaking notes, write them on your phone, put them in a Word. I don't care what you do. Take the notes and then use it later. And even what you could do if you don't want to take like notes, but you just want to save time and effort, pull up a Word document and write out your world building. Describe what is happening as it's happening and then copy and paste the paragraphs as needed into your scenes when you need them. You're welcome. It's an easy way to help level up your writing, save you some time and effort, and let some authenticity to what you're writing as well. Follow along for more tips and tricks on how you can level up your writing and navigate the world of publishing, from your writing to your publishing to your marketing, from a longtime best-selling author who just wants to help this industry grow a little bit. We're going to answer your questions in the upcoming episodes, but boy, do I have some really cool things planned for you over the next couple of weeks. I can't tell you yet, but I have some big things that could potentially change the game for all of us here in the publishing industry. So stay tuned. Big things coming. We'll see you in tomorrow's episode.